Hey YouTube, welcome back to the Ron Paul 2008 channel's feature on You Choose 2008. Today you're going to hear Dr. Paul talk about abolishing the IRS and ending the federal government's raid on your paycheck. Stay tuned.
The notion of a free society is that you own your own life and your life is your own. I happen to believe it comes from a creator and therefore I have personal obligations, but it's my life to deal with. The income tax assumes the opposite. The income tax assumes that you belong to the state. If your life were your own, you'd have a right to your life. Nobody can, the government should make sure that if anybody threatens your life that they can intervene and take care of that threat of violence. But we have a right to our life and we have a right to our liberty to act out as long as we don't hurt people. But then we ought to have a right to the fruits of our labor, which causes the incentive, and that creates the wealth in a free society. But if the assumption is made that the government has control over your income, whether it's 1% or 99%, the principle is 100%, the government has control. Right. So if they permit you to keep a certain percentage, they're in the driver's seat. And of course our taxes vary a lot and they're hidden, but the average American works now half the time, to pay their taxes, and they're getting less for it every year because of the economic problems that we face. So I don't like it because of the assumption. And of course, the other reason I despise it is because of the way it's collected. We are required as individuals to literally become slaves to the government by reporting endlessly reams and reams of personal financial information that in a free society would be your own business. And then if the IRS comes and they challenge us, for our tax return, the assumption is you're guilty and you don't have regular court, you go to a tax court, you have to prove yourself innocent. So it puts our whole Constitution on its head, and I think it's terrible economics. It really does not conform with the Constitution, and it ultimately destroys the productive capacity of this country. I think it's the overtaxation that helps encourage so many of our jobs to go overseas.
Now, if you do away with the income tax, will the government have money to spend?
Probably still too much, as far as I'm concerned. Okay. Yes, the income tax itself doesn't pay for more than half. It's less than half of what government has. So it is true. If you didn't want to replace it, which I don't, you'd have to cut spending, which I would. Okay. And I'd cut it first, on all the foreign expenditures, because that's the biggest boondoggle going on. And the people who would suffer there would be the military-industrial complex, and I haven't worried too much about them. So yes, you could do it. It's not the whole amount of taxes coming from the income tax, but it would really, really stimulate the economy. I mean, you would have a lot more very wealthy people and a lot more middle-class people that would be moving up. There'd be a lot more funds available for the generosity that the American people are known for. And we may even go back to the point where churches ran hospitals and had charity and all of these things that used to be wonderful that we've done away with because we assume the government will take care of us. And what do when they provide these services, whether it's education or medicine? All it does is it pushes up prices and ruins the distribution. And that's why people are so unhappy with both those areas, whether it's medical care or education.